Akadosh Boker Or Bekiim Bahalacha 4, day 86. Siman Lamed, Siman 30. This is page 216, Halacha Bet. Asur le'aniach tefillin balayla. You're not allowed to put on tefillin during the nighttime. Shegazru chachamim, because the chachamim made a gezerah, shema yishkachem v'yishan b'hem v'yafiach b'shenato. Person's going to forget. He's going to sleep. He's going to pass gas. Aval midoraita mutal anicham balayla. But midoraita, you're allowed to put them on in the nighttime. The kaimalan laila zman tefillin. Because we do paskin that laila is zman tefillin. So, mitzad the Torah, you're allowed to come and put tefillin balayla. Mitzad the Torah, midoraita. That's how we paskin. But it's still a sumi d'rabbanan, because maybe you're going to fall asleep. When you fall asleep, you're not paying attention to what you're doing, and it could be that you're going to pass some wind. So because of that, right, it's going to be prohibited. That is an isur d'rabbanan. Look in the 238. See the preface to the Siman for the debate among the Rishonim, whether or not isur d'rabbanan, whether or not tefillin applies during the nighttime. Shulchan Aruch ruled according to the majority of the Acharonim, right, which is the majority of the Rishonim, sorry, a majority opinion, that the Torah mitzvah tefillin applies also at nighttime. But there are sages forbade putting on the tefillin during nighttime just because you might fall asleep while wearing them. Okay, that was halacha bet. Bet, halacha gimel. Halacha gimel says after sunset. Im kvar iniach tefillin kodem shkiyat hachama. If you place the tefillin before shkiyat hachama, lechashcha alav, and it became choshech, mutar lishaer imahem. You're allowed to stay with them. Shekevan shetefillin kvar munachim alav be'od, because since the tefillin are already there during the day, lo tzrichu, right? Oto lechaltzon. They didn't tell you have to take it off, right? V'yachol lishaer im tefillin kol halayah. You could stay technically all night. And even if you, as long as you didn't take them off. Because if you did take them off once, then you're not allowed to put it on again. Meaning, you put it on before, right? So therefore, there's no problem. You don't tell it, you don't do it lechatchila, because if not, then people might actually come and do these things. However, the data mekubalim, it's a suli sharim atfilin alav balayla, v'yesh lechultzam bechol ofan, right? V'yesh lachush datam v'lachlotz atfilim shkiyat hachama. So basically like this. You have al pia Kabbalah. So many times, by the way, this happens on a ta'anit, because many times on a ta'anit, we put on the tefillin before, right? Before Shekiyah, but we're putting them on during the time of the mincha. And during the time of the mincha, right, when a person's going to come and they're going to have, for example, the sisur or whatever it is, right? So he comes and he says, what happens is that in such a case where they would put it in such a fashion, right? So it goes like this. He says, yeah, he comes and he says like this. He says in such a fashion, you're allowed to leave it on. However, though he says according to the Kabbalah, you're not allowed to leave it on. So what do you do exactly? So here he says here you should be choshesh to the data mekubalim, but mitzad halacha there's no problem of leaving it on. Why? You put it on before Shekiyah. It's now nighttime. Yeah, you leave it on. If you took it off, then no. I mean, the second you took it off once, no. And technically, you could leave it on the entire night once you already had it on before the Shekiyah. Because once you made the beracha and everything, so there's no problem. But he does say a person should be careful, because if somebody's ignorant, people might think, I'm allowed to put on tefillin in the nighttime. No. You're not allowed to put on the tefillin in the nighttime. But in a case where you already had them on, you can leave them on. So look in the footnote where it says, right, wearing tefillin at night in public. So he says it like this: if someone wears tefillin into the nighttime, where many people see him, it's considered the same as telling them that the halacha permits it. The Achronim debated this issue. The Mishnah followed the Magen Avraham, right, that he says that it's permissible to continue wearing the tefillin into the nighttime only in private, where no one sees what he's doing. If someone wears them in view of others, it's considered as if that he's teaching them to do the halacha. Therefore, for example, no one may wear tefillin when praying arvit with congregation after a fasting, right? Meaning, for sure, for the arvit, you shouldn't wear it. Why? Because in such a fashion, they already are finishing mincha. So mincha usually goes into the shekiyah. So that's one thing. But already to start the arvit, it's already something different. So if you put them on with the bracha before shekiyah, then you can wear. Technically, yes, but he says, but that's only in private. Here we're talking about public. So he says the divrei chamudot, in contrast, that ruled that wearing tefillin in view of others is not considered to be teaching any halacha. Therefore, he ruled that when putting on tefillin for mincha Tisha B'Av, they may continue to wear them even while praying arvit. So the divrei chamudot argues, right, on the shita of the Magen Avraham. Although many people make sure to take them off, that is only because they are unaware of the halakha, that they may continue wearing them. And several achronim, whether it's Olat Tamid, Chok Tonom, Mekor HaChaim, they agree with this. The Taz ruled that if the person wearing the tefillin is in a Bet HaMidrash, he may continue wearing them at nighttime, even in view of many people. The Levush Hasan Mishabra deduce from this that the Taz concur with the ruling of the Divrei Chamrudot. That means you're allowed to. Harav Zalman, however, asserted that it concurs with Magen Avraham. Although it is forbidden to appear in public while wearing at night, it is different in a Bet HaMidrash. This is a place where frequented by people who devote themselves to Torah study. So therefore, we assume that they are aware of this halacha, and therefore they're not going to misinterpret the halacha. Meaning, right now you have halacha that we don't want you to misinterpret. So if you're, imagine right now walking down Harding, somebody sees you with tefillin and it's nighttime, what do people think? You're allowed to wear tefillin at nighttime. Yeah, why? Look, this guy, nice long beard, this, you're allowed to wear tefillin at nighttime. If it's in a Bet HaMidrash, people are more learned, people are there, and therefore they're more aware of the halacha. So says the Rav Zalman, he wants to say that the Taz doesn't agree to the Divrei Chamudot. According to Divrei Chamudot, no problem. You could even say Arvit with them, lechatchila, no problem. Right? Why? Once you have them on, right? But yes, that's the Divrei Chamudot. According to Magen Avraham, you're not allowed to. So he comes and he says, really, Be'emet, you would have thought that the Taz agrees to, because he said that in the Bet HaMidrash you're allowed to. So you would have thought to say that he agrees with Divrei Chamudot. No. Really, Be'emet, he agrees with Magen Avraham. Right? The only thing is, in a Bet HaMidrash, it's a special halacha. In the Bet HaMidrash, people are more learned. People understand. So they know that the reason why you're wearing the tefillin is because you put it on before nightfall, and therefore you're allowed to continue. Right? What about where there's nowhere to keep the tefillin safe? Right? So we spoke about the mincha of the Tisha B'Av and everything. Again, even for ourselves, that we do keep them on, right? We always do take them off before Arvit. Meaning, no matter how, even if it's going to be that we're going to leave them on after Shekiyah, for Arvit, we always do take it off, right? But again, even though you do have the heter of the Divrei Chamudot and maybe the Taz and maybe all the other others, remember that the Shita of the Taz is actually a machloke between the Mishnah Brura, right, and the Rav Zalman. You understand? And then you'll have all the Divrei Chamudot and all the rest. And as long as you could already continue doing these, how do you call this? You could continue doing it because there's a lot of shitot that there's no problem. Once you already started be'eter, you keep it on as long as you want. What about now in a case, though, where there's nowhere to keep it safe? You're afraid. It might be stolen. It might get lost. It might this. So what are you going to do now? So he comes and he says, Shulchan Aruch comes and he states that if someone wishes to continue wearing the tefillin at nighttime just because he has no place where to put them, so it's permitted. In fact, even if he asks what he should do, he should be told to continue wearing them at nighttime. Of course, he should make sure not to fall asleep in it, obviously, but he's obligated to announce to those present that he's wearing it just because he needs a safe place to keep them. The Mishnah added that also some poskim rule that even if the person had not been wearing tefillin, it's still permissible to put them on at night, right? If there's not going to be a safe place for him, right? Others, though, they say no, that's a sur. Meaning they want to say if you put it on be'eter, keep them on. But to mamash put them on, that's something different. The Bet Yosef demonstrated according to Rashi, it's permissible to put on tefillin in nighttime in such a case. And this is the ruling also of the Gaon Vilna. The Halacha Brura, though, ruled that it is forbidden. Since the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch, right, is that it's a sur. The Biur Halacha that even according to those who permitted one to put on tefillin during the nighttime, you're not allowed to make a melacha. Meaning, even if you're going to tell me, listen, Rabbi, I have nowhere where to put it, and I'm afraid of just keeping them around. So I'm going to tell you, okay, fine. Let's say even according to the Gaon, you're allowed to put them on. But you're not allowed to make a bracha. The Kavachim Sofer testified that the Arizal was very careful to avoid wearing the tefillin after sunset. Therefore, one should plan ahead to find a safe place to deposit the tefillin so that it doesn't become necessary to wear them at night. For this extra bother, one will receive a special blessing. And the Halacha Brura added that one may ignore the Arizal stringency if one finds it difficult. The important thing is to make sure not to fall asleep while wearing the tefillin. Meaning, if it's difficult, right? And so therefore, here I actually purposely do it later. And the reason why is because if you're going to do mincha too early in order to finish mincha, and then you do arvit, some people don't wait until the end of the tanit, right? What happens is that they're going to just, it's halacha daled. Halacha daled. Mi shena'enas v'lo iniach tefillin mimeshech kol hayom ad achar shekiyat hachama. Somebody has an onus, and they didn't put on tefillin the entire day, and now it's already shekiyah. Yeah, there's an onus. You know what onus is? Onus is force majeure. He's got a problem. He wasn't able to put on tefillin the entire day. So יכול להניח תפילין בברכה בתוך זמן בין השמשות שלנו. So you could put it on with the bracha during the neshmashot, which is going to be 13 and a half minutes, because since there's a suffix fekada, maybe it's still day, so therefore he's allowed to put it on. Yeah? 240. The Od Yosef Chai. This is the Ben Ish Chai. Which one? 240. The Od Yosef Chai. Look in the footnote. He ruled that if someone did not fulfill the mitzvah of tefillin at all during the day, there's a suffix fekah to allow him to put on the tefillin during Ben Hashmashot. First of all, it might still be daytime. And even if it's night, according to some poskim, the mitzvah of tefillin applies at nighttime as well. And even if it's true that there's no mitzvah during the nighttime, the Mordechai and other Rishonim say that it's permissible to put them on during Ben Hashmashot. Nevertheless, he concluded one must not say beracha. This is the Ben Ish Chai. So again, the Ben Ish Chai comes and he says, put them on, just without a beracha. Right? Why you have a sfek sveka? Maybe it's daytime, maybe it's night, and even if it's night, some opinions hold you're allowed to put them on. The Rishon LeZion disagreed with this ruling, and he said that this, of course, you always, if you put on tefillin, if you put it on right now without beracha, you for sure can say the chuvah. There's no sfek. Yeah, 100%. That's what I just said. Right now, you just put on tefillin. You're always in chuvah. The beracha is extra. The beracha is not me'akev the mitzvah. So the Rishon LeZion comes and he disagreed with this ruling. And he said that this person may even make a bracha when he puts on tefillin during Ben Hashmashot. He lists several arguments for the leniency. Number one, Rabbeinu Tam and Maran and the Shulchan Aruch, that this period is definitely daytime. But according to them, meaning that if Maran is posek like Rabbeinu Tam, bichlal, during the 13 and a half minutes after, that's day, right? And that's what he says over here. Since their opinion, Ben Hashmashot only begins 56.5 seasonal minutes after sunset. Furthermore, according to Rabbi Yosef, Ben Hashmashot begins long after the visible sunset. Now, even though we normally refrain from saying a bracha, even when there's sveka, right? He says to permit saying the bracha. There are poskim who do permit it. Furthermore, there's no question that there's an obligation from the Torah to still wear tefillin, and therefore it becomes permissible to say the bracha as long as there's sveka. This is the ruling of the Tumat Hadesh and Shulchan Aruch, Siman 489.8. Right, therefore, it's permissible in this case to say bracha on the tefillin when putting them on during Minish Vashot. The Bahalacha brings the Magen Avraham that it's permissible to put on tefillin for the mitzvah until dusk, which is after Minish Vashot. The Pri Megadim, however, ruled that the time ends at sunset. The Bahalacha concludes that the person is not yet fulfilled the mitzvah. For sure, he could still put it on, but without a bracha. So it means according to the Bahalacha, it's like the Od Yosef Chai without a bracha. But Rishon LeZion, though, right, he argued that the entire issue is that our Chachamim forbid wearing the tefillin in the night. Since we have sveka to say that the period of the evening is still considered daytime, it's permissible even to say bracha. Regarding the mitzvah of tzitzit, right, he says there's no basis to permit reciting the bracha when putting on talit during Minish Vashot. The halacha does not permit reciting the bracha in the case of if there's no doubt, since the person is not really obligated to wear talit every single day. Regarding tefillin, however, he's definitely obligated to put on the tefillin to fulfill the mitzvah, and so the halacha definitely, right, will be able to come and allow him to make a bracha. So therefore, like this, he's trying to make a differentiation between talit and tefillin. He says talit, there's no chova to put on talit every single day, right? Especially that only if you have a four-corner garment, then you have the mitzvah tzitzit. If you don't, you don't. So therefore, since there's no chova, I would not obligate myself a bracha during Minish Vashot if I didn't put on the talit. But, yeah, what's so funny? Yeah. Oh, okay, fine. So he comes and he says, right? But, right? No, I thought it was something he was saying. I didn't understand. Yeah. He says, but if you're going to tell me now that it's going to be mitzvah tefillin, you're obligated every single day. So since tefillin you are obligated every single day, during Ben Hashmashot, if you still didn't put them on, you can still make a bracha. The last one is going to be putting on tefillin. Huh? This is a Yalkut Yosef. Yeah, he says putting on tefillin before the Rabbeinu Tam's dusk. Right? The Yalkut Yosef also finished that if someone failed to put on the tefillin during the day and had no opportunity until after the normally defined as dusk time, which is basically after the 13 and a half minutes, you should still put them on, right? As long as it's still not going to be Rabbeinu Tam. But here, right, he says you don't make a bracha. Meaning, even according to according to the Yosef Chai and the Bahalacha, which is the Mishnah Berurah, for sure you put on the tefillin. You put the tefillin on after sunset. We're talking about after Shekiah. You're putting on the tefillin on without a bracha. According to the Wadia, no, you put it on with a bracha. But that's only during the 13 and a half minutes Zmaniyot, right, after Shekiah. After that time, right, technically it's still been a Shmashot according to a lot of opinions, especially Rabbeinu Tam. But there you put it on without a bracha. That's what he's saying. So there it's without a bracha. Which one?
Hashem.